Consenting.
Saying yes.
No, you have to actually click yes. Come on, man.
I know I was, dude. This
Get with the
computer is
program.
huge. It's literally this big.
I can see it in your
Oh,
glasses. It looks
dude,
huge.
it's crazy. It's Jaden's. He's got the setup.
Oh,
It's
the
a nice-
Job Meister.
It's a nice
Yeah.
podcasting.
See the
setup, not
PC
gonna
back
lie,
there.
I'm not gonna
Yes.
lie.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All
I'm
right.
just lucky.
Here we go, boys. And we're going to start in. What up, everybody? This is Just Saucin. I am your host, Jack Burns. Welcome to episode 28. We are now 27 weeks straight of Just Saucin, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the content so far. And we got a great podcast coming at you, a lot of basketball to cover. So at this point, with me, as always, your boy, Ryan. How we doing?
I'm doing awesome. And as always, it's always been a pleasure, baby. Love to be
Good
here.
Good times. Coming back off of his one podcast suspension, Timmy Simonich. How we doing?
Suspension.
Oh, we got no audio on you, fool. It's all right. We're gonna start over.
Restart.
Audio breach.
He's coming off the sussy. He's off the sussy.
No audio, Tim. Did you consent to recording?
How I fix it?
How I
Rejoin,
fix
leave
it.
and rejoin if you can.
Yeah. Let's do that. Try leaving and rejoining, maybe. Maybe check in your bottom left-hand corner, click like the little up button and make sure that your microphone is selected for your, not like your headphones, but it's selected as your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
There we
Yeah.
go.
Am I like mad loud?
No, you're
Could
like
you-
mad loud.
Could you guys not hear me the whole time?
No.
Nah.
Oh, that
I'm just like
sucks.
realizing I couldn't hear the whole time. I didn't think you were talking.
I was like asking
look.
Liam a few questions, and I was like, "Yeah, good to meet you, bro." Like, whatever. Yeah, fuck me, I
Oh,
guess.
that's tough. Oh shit.
Okay, well here, ask any questions you have now. I'm gonna cut this first part. So
Yeah.
No, I don't have any questions.
okay, good. All right, let's restart this. All right. Tim comes off the suspension of little rust.
Little
just
tough.
kidding.
Little
Off the
tough.
sussy. He's off the
A
sussy.
little. All right. What up, everybody? This is Just Saucin. I am your host, Jack Burns. With me, as always, your boy Ryan McKinnon. How we doing, baby?
Always a pleasure, baby. Happy to be here.
Got a fully loaded NBA pod ahead. We got two more guests with us off his 1-game suspension, fresh off of it. Timmy Simonich, baby. How we doing? Gotta be feeling pretty good. Series is 2-2.
What's up? Yeah, no, I definitely feel good. I feel good to be back. You guys took a couple shots at me last week, not being here, talking shit about the Suns. I'm ready. I got the clip loaded. Just kidding. I don't really have anything like that.
So much
but
ammo.
I don't really have anything like that, but I am excited to be back, a part of it. Back off the suspension. We're back.
We're back. What jersey are we rocking today?
This is a USA Vince Carter jersey.
Love it.
Love that.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And longtime listener, first time guest, lifelong Celtic fan, Liam, happy in the building, baby. How we doing?
Doing great. Let me tell you that much. Hey.
Yeah,
That was a
thanks for
sick
coming on,
intro.
man.
Look.
Yeah, great one.
No, this is the first time I've been on here. It's been 2 years now.
2 years. Yeah, excuse me.
God.
Not first time. You were on
Long
Saucin
overdue.
Q. This is your first
Long
time
overdue.
just saucing.
Oh,
This is your first time just
yeah.
saucing.
No, absolutely. I'm just great. I'm glad to be here. You know what I
Guy
mean?
should have been in the league a long time ago.
Facts.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here.
All right, so let's kick it off. We're gonna so as we're currently recording, it is 10:44 Central Time. Golden State currently leads by 10 over the Los Angeles Lakers with 5 minutes left in the third. So by the time this podcast is recorded, we'll have a final score on that game. So we'll bring that up probably towards the end of the pod. But we're gonna kick off with Celtics Sixers. Okay, so I got a couple things I want to talk about from this game. I'll only talk about a couple because there's so many aspects of this game. I feel like that we can talk about, right? I'm going to start it off with boy, good old Jimmy Hamstrings has just really put me in my spot.
Jimmy
James Harden.
Hamstrings.
Jimmy Hamstrings,
Hams.
dude.
Jimmy Hams.
Absolutely upgrading, dropping 240 balls on our head, an absolute masterclass from him. We saw a meltdown by the MVP in the fourth quarter. James Harden didn't know what, or excuse me, Joel Embiid didn't know what he was doing while Al Horford was guarding him. But it always seemed like James Harden was just making the right play, even when it was, late in the stretch in the third, where we're trying to get that lead down to 8 or 9. James Harden's either hitting the three, going to the basket, making the right play. Boston was able to come back. They were down 16 at one point, come back, had a 5-point lead with 2 minutes left in the game. Market game ended up being tied. Marcus Smart had a shot to win it at the buzzer, went into OT, and the Celtics ended up losing. So a brutal loss for the Celtics, again, selling in the closing minutes of overtime and in the fourth quarter. So just a brutal loss and a heartbreaking loss for Boston. So just a couple of things. First of all, why this is a good loss in a sense is last year, just the way our team was, we lose this game by 20. Last year, our team just had we had a little bit of a give up in us sometimes. So when we were down big like that, we give up. So being able to come back was great. But this has been the biggest thing that's worried me about this Celtics team is just closing games in the fourth. So Liam, talk to me a little about that, man. What are some of your takeaways from yesterday?
I don't know. It's hard because in the sense of Missoula, you know, he doesn't call timeouts. You know, my brother and I, we watch games together. We know it's not coming. And it seems just like one of those deals where, like, you know, he looks like a hero if it goes in. Like if Marcus gets it off half second earlier, you know, like I don't know how you look at that, but when you're in the NBA, like these are necessary, you know, like there's not another coach in the league that'll do this. Like everyone calls a timeout, not Joe. There could be 15 seconds left. You have plenty of time.
Well, Bud doesn't like calling them either, especially when.
Well, is Bud a coach?
That didn't work out too well.
Yeah, Bud is not a coach in the NBA.
Bud a coach in the NBA? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's too late. Like I don't think he's just gonna like magically make a change where he's gonna start calling timeouts. I don't think that's what he's gonna do. You know, middle of the playoffs here, but like if we weren't down 16, if the Celtics weren't down 16, that's not happening. And you're right, because last year that game's over, you know, at end of the third.
100%.
But I don't know. It seems like it's a lot more player driven this year. I mean, last year Udoka was, you know, ripping him a new one, you know, right on the sideline, right on the floor. But I think it's a lot more player driven. So it's, to me, it's just up to the players at this point.
I agree. Yeah. And see, that's where like the timeout thing for me, I'm not like too upset about. We had the players on the floor that we wanted at the end of the game, right? So at this point, like we've had, especially Jason Tatum, bro, like you've had over 80 playoff games. You've been in situations like this before. You were just in the same situation at the end of regulation. Some people don't like the 3 by Marcus Smart. Do you know what? He's in the playoffs. He's over 35% from 3. I'm okay with him shooting a wide open 3 for the win personally. My man Marcus. But the thing is, like, Tatum just got to know better, bro. Like, you can't be starting to attack the basket with 5 seconds left in overtime. No. Because the idea is you're trying to collapse this defense. You can either make a layup, make a play. You can't be making that pass with 1 second. So as much as people want to blame Missoula for the timeout, I understand that. But like you said, we've watched Celtics basketball all season. We know that timeout's not coming. The Celtics know that timeout is not coming. Jason Tatum had plenty of time to make a move towards the basket and just made that move a little too late. Tim, I know you got a chance to catch up on this game, man. What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if you just mentioned it right there or not, but another thing about the whole timeout thing is like hypothetical, like in theory, the Sixers, they had some guys on the floor that they probably would have swapped out if a timeout had been called.
Yep, that's
like they didn't have a very defensive lineup. And so if you're Missoula, you're like, okay, I like our odds here 100%. To attack. And then I just don't think that the Celtics are disciplined enough in those scenarios, dude. And I think that's been the case for years now. We've been having this kind of a conversation for years. Yeah. And like, I think, I don't know. I don't really know how else to put it other than just like some more discipline. Like you said, as the superstar of the team, you got to know to go before 5 seconds, unless in your head, you're like, okay, I'm going in no matter what, I'm shooting this, which that clearly wasn't the case. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't know what Jimmy hamstrings are we going to get. By the way, Ryan,
Exactly.
I've been calling him that, and like it's a thing now with some of my friends because of you, pal. So
we're locked in. We're locked in on Jimmy hamstrings, baby.
Jimmy hamstrings.
But like, you know, in games 5 and 6, I just trust Boston more than I trust Jimmy to show up. Like Embiid's clearly not 100%. And this is just like the story of his career thus far. Like, I like Boston's chances. I know it's 2-2, best of 3, but I just think the more complete team's going to pull it out because I just think Jimmy's not going to show up at least one of those games. You're not going to get this for 2 more or like all of the games. You know what I mean? Like he's
No,
gonna
you're-
have another
Yes.
stinker.
Yes.
obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I have a perfect add-on for that. The Jimmy hamstrings, the way he's going right now, it's a pop off, and then it's like a sit down for like 10 points, or he's just not going to score at all. And the way that adds up right now, if he pops off, game 7 is going to be a no point game for Jimmy hamstring. So lucky
Yeah.
Celtics. I think the series is over unless like James actually plays good for the
Over.
next. I I don't know if that's just me. Game 6, close it out, but it's just James Harden X factor. Like, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna actually drop 40 every night? Probably not. So,
Well,
unless he
and on top of like the feeling of being over, it just really feels like when the Sixers win, they're playing their best ball and like we're
best,
playing our
absolute
worst.
best,
Like
right?
their
Like,
absolute best basketball, and we're playing like an abysmal style of basketball for
Yeah.
at least a couple of quarters. Like we didn't
Yeah.
have like when the Celtics show urgency and push effort, like we win every quarter, but it's like win. And that's the other thing too, though, is Boston like game 5. I think we're going to win that in Boston, bro. Like,
yeah,
especially after
No
losing
way.
a heartbreaker like game 4. Don't be surprised if Boston comes and just blows the fucking roof off this thing, wins by 15 or 20. They're going to be 6 or 7 point favorites going into
Yeah.
Philly, and then who knows what happens. But it's just when Boston has the effort, dude. Like they didn't have effort through 3 quarters, and then they just decided to turn it on the 4th.
yeah.
Tatum started the game with 4 rebounds, or the first half he had 2 points and 4 rebounds. 2 points and 4 rebounds, and finished the game with 23 and 18, right? And that was that's an effort. That's just him, like an effort thing, being in the right
Like a
spots,
mental thing.
rebounding.
Yeah.
So it's just, oh,
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like when the Sixers win, it's a war, like an absolute war. Like they go and play hard basketball for the entire game. But when the Celtics win, they just blow them out, and it just looks so
Yeah.
easy. It looks like such an effort thing. Like if they're just trying hard that night, they're just gonna blow them out of the water. But
Quick
Yeah.
question for
Yeah.
Jack and Liam. Like, as Celtics guys, how do you feel about the whole Jaylen Brown thing right now, where he's like, "Oh, I guess I got to demand the ball more." When he shoots, what was it? It was 2 or I think it was 3 times in fourth quarter and overtime total.
Mhm.
And
damn,
like, so I mean, he scores what, the first 12 points of the game, ends with what was it, 23 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, what's your guys' take on that? Is that a Jaylen Brown thing? Is that a Boston? Is that a Missoula thing? Like, what's the deal here?
Liam, I have some comments on that, but I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I texted Sauce 2 days. Well, when the Celtics played last, and during the game, I said I only trust Jaylen Brown 20% of the time. Like, he's just so weird, you know. Like, he can easily give you 35 a night, or he's going to turn the ball over 9 times, dribble it off his foot, pass it completely, like anywhere. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's hard to tell with him, but like how he's been playing in the playoffs, he needs the ball more. I think late at least. He's a shot maker.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but Jaylen Brown being like, I need to demand the ball more. Like, yes, like that's exactly it. Like he in these late game situations, he just gets caught ball watching a lot. And Missoula doesn't like. He came out after game 3 and said he's like, we have like 3 or 4 plays. 2 or 3 plays that we actually run. Other than that, it's all player based, right? And which is how our Celtics team should run. We have a lot of really, really solid guards, a lot of good ball handlers. I know Jaylen Brown's not the best at times, but I think, and this is just my opinion I'm just kind of thinking about this now. Like, I don't know if James Harden's maybe just, or not James Harden, Jaylen Brown is maybe just like, I don't know if he wants the ball in the hands at the end of a game sometimes, dude. I think he's afraid maybe to turn the ball over, bro.
You think he's like got some maybe because that's what happened in the finals last year. I remember was it
bro.
game 6, the closeout game?
Yes, it was game 6.
He had some really big turnovers, like at big points of the game where he could have swung it the other way.
At the end of games,
Exactly.
all I know is most of the time he's in the corner ball watching, bro. And he's right. He's like, maybe I should. He goes, I just guess I got to go demand the ball more. That's exactly it, bro. Like, especially with the style of ball Missoula runs. And this is a very similar style to what Ime ran last year, where it was just like a lot of it is going to be on the players creating for their own, which is how it should be. Everyone can shoot. We spread the floor and it's just going to the basket and creating our own. And when Boston gets going downhill, man, that's when our best basketball is, right? I mean, there was a really big Al Horford 3 that just rimmed out in overtime. Now, if that drops, it puts them up 5 with 35 seconds left, and it's most likely the ball game. But yeah, so I think for me, it's Jaylen Brown needing to demand the ball, and that's what we need to see out of him. I do think he needs the ball in his hand. he obviously needs to be taking more than 3 shots in the last, especially in the last 15 minutes of a game, including overtime, or 18 minutes of a game, including overtime. That's
Game
ridiculous.
time. Yeah, that's crazy.
Ridiculous.
That's super, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, the Jaylen Brown stuff's tough. These next 2 or 3 days are going to be huge on the Boston Celtic era, man, because Celtics lose this series and who knows what happens. JB could be wanting out. I assume the All NBA teams are going to be announced here within the next couple of days, assuming JB's.
The rookie teams were announced today. Yeah.
Today, yeah, the rookie teams were announced today. So I assume the All NBA teams have to be announced maybe within the next couple of days. JB, assuming he's going to be on there, going to get signed to a Supermax contract by Boston, and he'll at least stick around then. But if he demands a trade, man, which we've talked about this before, just would not make any sense. I don't think there's a more optimal situation for him.
Yeah, where's he going to
not.
go and have the same success, right?
Well, and that's the thing. Does he want to win or does he want to be a 1?
Or do you want to just get to your Supermax?
Yeah, well, and the thing
be
is,
on a
that's not
6
it
or
though.
7
That's
seed.
the thing is though, that's not even it though. I guess at that point, it wouldn't be about the money, but he's going to go get paid in Boston. He's got to be All NBA this year. He was 27 a game on the 2 seed in the East. Like he's gonna be All NBA and he's gonna get paid. So at that point, it's just like, do you want to have your own team or do you want to win? Because if you have your own team, like you're not winning.
For sure.
Exactly.
And what you're saying, Sauce, he's eligible for more money. Like the Celtics, if he's All NBA, can offer him more money than any other team in the league.
Yeah, it's up to like 30, I think it's like almost 40% more.
Right. And so like
30%
there
more
is
than the
his
next team.
super max.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
So he's going to go get paid. He's going to get paid in Boston. He's got to be an All NBA guy. So it's just like, does he want to be a 1? And it just doesn't make any sense. There's no pressure on him, bro. Like there's none.
That's been my thing the whole time with Jaylen Brown is like he's such a good player, but he has a couple things about him that like are completely overshadowed on this team.
Yeah.
Like he's a great scorer, but he doesn't have to be the guy that has to go get you a bucket. He's a great defender, but he doesn't have to be the guy that's on the like best player all game, every game. Like he totally can be, and he is in spurts. He's a great spot up shooter, but he doesn't like he's not limited to anything on this team. But
100%.
he's also like not the best playmaker, and he doesn't have a ton of playmaking responsibilities on this roster. So
Well,
like
and he's just not held to a standard that a 1 is typically held to. So
Totally.
that's why like when
Jason
Stephen A's
Tatum
come
gets
out,
all
he's
that.
like, and that's what I mean. When Stephen A comes out and he's like, oh, Jaylen Brown's been more consistent. It's like, I understand that if you're looking at numbers wise, but then go look at this last game. This is a game that we were in solely, not solely, but a big reason because of the way Jason Tatum played in the fourth quarter. And if Jaylen Brown steps up and demands the ball more, we may win this game. So there's just no pressure on Jaylen Brown. It just would not make any sense to me for him to go anywhere else. So yeah, I like Boston in 6. I want to bring up one more thing. Joel Embiid, I don't think I have ever seen, I haven't seen anything like this from an MVP player before. Al Horford, 35 years old. I had a funny reference to Tim. How are you getting your shot blocked? Joel Embiid, how are you getting your shot blocked by someone born in
By
1986?
Al Horford.
Bro?
Like, what are we talking about?
Al Horford's born in 1986.
1986?
1986. How are you getting your shot blocked by someone
1980?
born in 1986, dog?
How old is he? What in the world?
He's 30. He's 35, bro. He's 35.
He's older than Missoula.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
by 3
no
years.
way.
Yes,
Yeah.
3 years. Joe Mazzulla's 32.
Whoa.
Isn't
What a
that wild?
dynamic.
I know, right? But
But was
that's
like,
all-
do this. He's like, I'm older than
I
you.
don't know, little
so-
man. You telling me,
But I
little
mean-
bro? Like
we saw PJ Tucker get in Joel's face and fucking scream at him because Joel had a takedown low that he just didn't take hard because he thought he was going to shot block by Al Horford. Bro, they say he's 7 foot. Joel Embiid is 7'1", 7'2", 300 pounds and should be dominating that paint area. So shout out to Al Horford. Great defensive game by him. And I don't know, man. Like,
I think it's like what we talked, like Embiid's not going to be 100% for the rest of the series, and it's all down to the Jimmy hamstrings. Like, is he gonna drop 40 every night? Like, if he
No.
does, sure, they might win, but probably
Joel
not.
Embiid is not going to be healthy ever throughout a whole
No.
playoff series.
and
No.
it
That's
just
just proven.
sucks, dude. And it just
It
sucks.
does.
I guess
It really does.
what-
It does suck.
I've been
Can I
one
bring
of
up this? Oh,
the-
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna bring up this point. Like, if they lose, what? Like, are we moving on from the process? Is Joel leaving? What do the Sixers look like? You know?
I think it's fair game. Whatever happens, I think it's fair game because
I think
Harden's
so
an
too.
unrestricted free agent. So
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
let's say,
he's
let's,
Gonzo.
Oh,
Houston.
Harden's gone. Philly's
So
not
if-
paying that guy.
so if
Mm-mm.
Harden's gone, then like, what are we doing? If
Are
you're
you
Philly,
wiping?
if
Are you
you're,
keeping Embiid and building, or
but
you
if you
know?
like look around and you're Joel Embiid, what is he? 29? Isn't that how old he
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early
Yeah.
30.
Incredible injury history. So it's not like his body is like a young, spry 29-year-old, like in the peak of his prime. Like you're looking around and you're like, dude, it's me and Tyrese Maxey now.
Yeah.
Like he might be on that short list of guys to watch for in the next 12 months.
100%.
Like
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Damn.
I just don't. No, I
Good
don't.
point,
I
McKay.
think next year's year for him to get traded. I can't imagine unless he requested a trade. I mean, Philly can't. I don't think Philly would ever part ways with him.
right.
I just don't know how you can. Like, it's so hard to part. I mean, we saw
Yeah.
what Portland's gone through with Damian Lillard. Right, it's so hard to part ways with a superstar like that. And I think Joel Embiid is the type of guy to go ring chase and ask out. Like I truly believe that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Joel. But yeah, best of 3 series. Hopefully Celtics in 6. Anything else on the Celtics Sixers we want to cover? Okay. I was talking to Davey on the phone today. Said some absolutely outrageous stuff about Nikola Jokic. We'll have him on the pod maybe in the next couple of weeks after this Sun series, so we got a better feel on the Joker status.
Maybe.
But he brought up a trade to me. We didn't really cover. I think it was actually right after our pod that Mike Budenholzer got fired. Bucks are now kind of in this weird spot where. So let's talk about the Bucks for a little bit. I know I didn't put it in the outline, but I just want to cover the Bucks just real quick. Bucks are in a super weird spot, right? Brooke Lopez is on an expiring now, so I guess we'll see kind of what happens with him as he's getting older. Chris Middleton just doesn't seem like the same type of player dealing with all these injuries. Obviously, Drew Holiday is now going to be 34, so he's getting old, and Milwaukee is not a free agent destination. So in the scenario, and this is a scenario Davey laid out to me, and
What's Davey
How did
cooking up? What's he
Davey
cooking up?
Here's what he's
is
cooking
Davey
up.
cooking?
Warriors lose this series.
Uh-oh.
Draymond and Clay leave, and the Warriors trade for Giannis, trading their assets, Kuminga, Moody, draft picks, and have
Cool.
Giannis and Steph. Could you see something? Could you? And then we're talking. I mean, and for Giannis, is that not? I mean, it's a perfect fit for Giannis. Obviously playing with Steph, but obviously going to a destination that has the ability to acquire free agents. Obviously being in San Francisco. So that's just something that he brought up. I kind of wanted to throw it out there. Also,
You think
talking
Clay?
about the
You think
Bucks.
Clay leaves too in that situation?
If you can get Giannis, I just think you sell the whole franchise.
I could just, yeah.
It's like,
I mean, fair enough. I could see a world where like Clay somehow sticks his way on that team, but that is crazy. That's
Could
a
you
crazy
imagine
one.
Clay taking like a 3-year, $18 million deal to like do that? Just takes like a
mean, why not?
monster pay cut to be like, no, I want to win more rings. Like I want to
I
end
don't
my
even think
career
it-
with 6
Why not?
rings.
and the way the cap's inflating, I don't even think it has to be that low. I think it could honestly be like 3
50
years,
or 60?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
60 million. I think you could get Clay at $20 million a year
Yeah,
and still
sure.
have that other max spot open, man. So
And I think
Sure.
like all the young guys and the picks they can give, like it might be able to make sense, I guess, for the Bucks. Maybe.
I mean, I definitely think the Warriors, have
They have
the
enough
assets.
Yeah, they have enough assets to do that and make it
just,
happen.
Which it just then would depend. I mean, this is so like, that would be so like groundbreaking.
That'd be insane.
I'm trying to wrap my head around the
I
idea
know.
of even
That would be
even just
crazy.
Giannis being on the table in a trade talk at all. I'm like trying to wrap my head because like I think there's no like personally I think the Bucks are fine this year. Like
Sure.
it is a weird spot. Everybody's old. Nobody really fits on Giannis's timeline. Chris is definitely not going to be the same player he has been.
And you're not bringing in any big free agents.
Not bringing you don't even have a head coach right now. Like
Yeah.
this does feel like the start of turning the page on what was
Yep.
the last like 2 or 3 years. But
You got your one. You got your one.
you got a ring for sure. But it does feel like the end of that. And so like I'm trying to wrap my head just as a whole of like, okay, what could this look like in the future? Like, is he going to be like, hey, Milwaukee, I've got a year and a half left on my deal. Like get me out by the deadline. So or even is Milwaukee going to be like, oh shit, like we think this guy, it's 50-50 chance he might leave. We should cash in on him like while there's still value left on his deal. So
Well, I
then
think
you
it's a
just
mutual. I
bet.
think at that point it'd be a mutual respect thing too.
Sure,
Where it's
totally.
like Giannis being like, and I think it's very similar with like how this Dame and Portland situation can turn out, where it's like, listen, you guys are on your rebuilding years. I understand that. Really, the only way that these two teams are with Portland and Milwaukee are building their teams through a draft. Why don't you go out there, get all these picks, get all these young guys? I want to win, man. I want to go to somewhere where I can win. I just don't feel like it's here. So I don't know. Liam, what do you think about the Bucks situation? Like I said, I know we didn't have it on the outline, but I don't know. What do you think about this Bucks situation?
That Woj tweet would hit different.
Oh my God.
That'd be a crazy Woj tweet.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in one word, I think it's a mess. I mean, you fire your coach. I mean, I get it, I guess, and it came out after that his brother died or something in a car accident, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
During the
but
series, I think.
yeah, during the series, and it's like, well, I don't know. Is it like he had some really questionable moments in that series. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Firing your coach that soon, and then like, yeah, you're giving your team a whole summer. I mean, it depends how fast they get their new coach, but I mean, you're giving a team a whole summer potentially of just like waiting around. They're gonna be talking to everybody. I think. I mean, anyone that wants out. So I don't see them as a threat. I mean, I'm glad they're out of the playoffs. I was so glad when that happened, but like
Yeah, absolutely.
now I don't know where they stand. They have a lot to lose, really. Like from what they have now, that is.
Yeah. No,
and
absolutely. Losing in 5 games in the 1 seed is not.
can't do
Yeah.
that.
That
No,
hurts for sure.
And Budenholzer had some all-time. I mean, that game 5, some inexcusable stuff. Not calling the timeout with 1.5 seconds left to at least give your
So
team an
bad.
attempt to shoot. The rotations were terrible. Not calling a timeout when your team could not get anything falling. Just some all-time mishaps. I mean, this was his thing. Like, if they would have lost to Brooklyn, his ass was getting canned, right? And Jeff T came out in a recent podcast and said, like, like we got lucky. If Brooklyn has Kyrie or James Harden playing at 100%, like we're not beating that team. So, but that's how the finals is, man. You just gotta have a lot of things roll right for you to win.
Just to spin it the other way, I guess. What you think the Bucks maybe see it the other way, and they're like a Damian Lillard away from being a different type of
Absolutely.
team, maybe.
I just don't know if
they
they have
maybe
assets
go out.
to
They go out and
acquire
make
a guy
that kind
like
of
Dame.
splash, maybe. I mean, you got a good point. They might not have those assets, but
No young guys. Chris and Brooke are both unrestricted free agents. I just
So you're
don't.
just
I
trading
just
away
don't
all
know.
your picks, like
Literally, like as many
Mhm.
firsts as you can.
I mean, they're either gonna get desperate or they're just gonna go for the full rebuild. So
you would
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
interested to see, man. I still think it's a better situation than the Mavericks, but
chill out.
sorry, McKinnon. But
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, it is kind of a shit show. It can be. It can become one quickly, should I say?
Very.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to cover that. Anything else you want to cover on the Bucks, guys? Good to go.
Who do we
All
think?
right.
Who do we think is their head coach? If you had to pick, who?
Nick Nurse.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
It seems like the best candidate on the board.
Yeah, I think that's the.
Nick Nurse.
I know Tim, you got a
destination.
different direction.
I personally like the Vogel pick. I just like that he's had championship experience, coached mega stars before. He's a defensive-minded coach with really good defensive players on that roster. I think he was a scapegoat in LA. I like Vogel.
Yeah, I really like
Those are
Vogel.
two good options for sure.
Yeah.
Vogel was
definitely.
for sure a scapegoat in LA, bro. They just
No
like,
doubt.
Stupid.
La GM.
well, yeah, exactly. They just brought in all
ball
these pieces
sack.
that like didn't fit. They brought in Russell Westbrook instead of DeRozan, which was a horrible fit. And yeah, they're just like, well, we just got to get rid of someone. So
DeRozan would have
yeah.
been sick.
Oh boy, DeRozan.
That
DeRozan
would've been
would have
awesome.
been a great fit. DeRozan would have been a great fit on that squad. All right, let's move on. Tim, talking about your Suns, baby. Series is tied. Yeah,
Set
and
us
by the
off.
way, the shots Tim was we took it. Tim, last podcast that was when the Suns were down 0-2, so that was probably why he didn't hop on the pod. But go ahead.
Nah, I was busy. Don't do
I
that.
know, I know. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Don't. Hey man, it's 2-2. It's best out of 3 now. I feel really good, or significantly better. After game 1, I was like, uh-oh. Like Denver just had a lot of shit going. Granted, they hit a ton of shots, whatever, but they had open looks, and Phoenix was not making a miss, and it looked really bad. Then after game 2, I know Phoenix went down 0-2, but I was telling myself, like, no, I think Phoenix figured some shit out. And I think they looked way better. And this is a very winnable series as long as they have to get both in Phoenix. But if they do, I think Phoenix wins the series. And I think that has like followed the trend. I think that Phoenix is the team that is figuring shit out, that is adjusting more, that is like putting it together and growing in the series compared to Denver. I think started really high and they're kind of getting punched in the face and not really doing anything about it besides Jokic. Like, I'm talking mostly like adjustment wise, like style wise, like all that kind of stuff. But like, I will say this. I don't get, sorry, Davey. I really respect your basketball opinions and shit. But like, are we not watching the games if we're thinking
That's
that
what
Jokic-
I'm saying.
Like, are we not
bro.
watching? Like, are we not watching if we think that Jokic isn't like the guy? Like, he just put up 51 and 11, or was it 51 and 12? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
53. 53.
Oh, 53. And like he was hitting every shot. It felt like every bucket down Phoenix, it was about to be the one that starts the little avalanche and starts the climb of, oh, it's up to 8, it's up to 12, 15 points. Every bucket felt that heavy. And then Jokic single-handedly would come down on the other end and give it right back. Like that dude is an issue. An issue. He's not even a
Issue.
scorer like that.
No, he's not.
Um,
He's not. Yeah, I mean, we got to give our flowers to Jokic, though. I mean,
No doubt.
watching that game, there's no way you can walk away from that being like, this guy is, if not the best, one of the best 3 players in the world.
in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this dude's crazy. With that being said, so I think Phoenix, some of the things they're figuring out that's working well, obviously, is Chris Paul being out made campaign start, which pushes the pace. And then getting out in transition, Denver is such a good half-court defense that if you're getting out in transition, you're not letting them get that opportunity, of course.
Yeah.
Book, campaign, all these guys, Okogie even, they're really, really good on the break. And so I think that plays into Phoenix's hands really, really strongly. Playing Terrence Ross and TJ Warren plays into their hands really strongly. I think they are guarding Murray significantly differently. Even Shamit, like when he gets put in one-on-one situations, even if Murray's scoring, he's having to work for his buckets. Whereas
yeah.
game 1, it was just a pick and roll, stroll down the lane. You're either going to get yours or get Jokic's. Like that's all it was. He's having to work significantly harder, and you can totally tell it's a totally different offense. I think that I like the spot, man. I like where Phoenix is. It feels like we have the momentum. It feels like going back to Denver for game 5. Like if Jokic is playing like the best player in the world, it feels like Booker is playing top 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's a top 3 player in the world, but he's playing like it right now.
Oh, absolutely.
KD's gonna have one of those games, man. You can
He's
feel it.
got it.
It's right on the cusp. And when he does, then what are we gonna say? 3-2 Suns, and you know what I mean? Like
Going back to Phoenix, yeah.
go back to Phoenix. So I feel good. I'm excited. 2-2. I think it's 60-40 right now, I would say.
I like it. Liam, anything you want to talk about on Suns Nuggies?
I mean, not much. I haven't got to watch a lot of these games. I watched the last one, but I thought here's what I would kind of tie it back to. When Suns made their run in 2021, Campaign had a different kind of role than he did last year. I'm not saying to this year. Last year, even he was completely forgotten about. But yeah, I thought the series was over once I saw Chris Paul was out. I was like, I don't really know how they, bring that back. But I think having Campaign in that role, pushing the pace. I mean, you see what it does. Pretty much every team in the league that pushes the pace has success. That has the guys to do it, and they do. You have 2 of the most pure scorers in the league. I mean, they have the capabilities to push a pace, and Campaign is like the perfect guy because he's the guy to do it. So, I mean, it's like a weird thing where it shouldn't work out that way, but it is, and it's just kind of playing into their favor. So,
yeah, and this is where I agree. Like, I haven't always been the biggest like Campaign guy. I thought after the 2021 season, they got him on a steal at the contract, but now it's like, okay, the contract makes sense after the stinker season he had last year. But yeah, I think he's a great fit for this offense. Like you said, like He's quick in the way he pushes the floor. He's a good passer. He's not going to give you, I mean, he could give you 20 in a game, but that's not like the role that he's taking on now. But yes, like you said, like the high up tempo, being able to push the ball, right? And he's not the guy that's going to have the ball in his hands. And I think that's like what makes him maybe a better fit than Chris Paul. Is it feels like for Chris Paul to impact the game, the ball needs to be in Chris Paul's hands, to where for Campaign to impact, and I feel like that takes away from Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, to where like when Campaign 100%. Has the ball, is on the floor, he doesn't need to have the ball in his hands. He's a guy that can push the tempo of the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if going into next year we see a total point book offense for this Suns team.
I will, if I can add really quick, I'm very interested to see what happens this offseason with Phoenix, because from the start, this has been a thing of from the start, meaning when they traded for Kevin Durant, this has been a thing with Chris Paul. He's in a role that he's never, ever played before.
No.
And that he's like, it's not to his strengths, and he's 38. And he's like not a good defender. He's not a great spot up shooter. Like, it just kind of feels like you have Chris Paul out there because of his name. But Campaign is totally the better fit with the offense. Like Campaign 100% just is. He's a better spot up shooter. Again, like we're saying, pushes the pace. So I honestly, and especially in this series, like there's some series I think that Chris Paul will work better, but as of right now, I kind of hope that he sits for the rest of the series.
I mean, he's already been ruled out for Game 5.
Yeah.
And with these nagging injuries, it seems like he's probably going to be out the rest of the series. Doesn't seem like there's a ton of optimism for him to come back, which, like you said, I don't think is necessarily like the worst thing in the world for Phoenix. And playing those it's just like the adjustments is great for Monty Williams, but at the same time, it's like winning the playoffs is not playing veteran players over younger players. Not worked out. Like, when is that not worked out? Like, why did we wait this long to play guys like Terrence Ross and TJ Warren, who like in big moments are going to hit shots that give you head? Now, are they going to win you a game? Of course not. But neither are guys like Josh Okogie, or neither guys like Torrey Craig. They're not going to win you a game, right? But these guys like TJ Warren, T. Ross, they can put you in a position. They can put Devin Booker and Kevin Durant in a position to win the game. So yeah, I love Phoenix, and I'm still riding with Phoenix. They're still my finals pick. Obviously, what Book is doing over these last two games is just not sustainable. I mean, I love Book. Shooting 76% from the field is just not like, it's just not. I know, don't, but I'm just saying. But like you said, we're bound to have one of those big time Kevin Durant games.
Totally.
Can I add something to this?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
So not too long ago, almost a year ago, the Suns had they had a lot of drama in one of these series, and with one of the best players in the other team, right? And that kind of hyped up the rest of the team. I think that little drama that happened in this game, it's not gonna make Jokic better, but it's gonna make the rest of the team just go a little bit harder for their guy, right?
The Ishba and Jokic thing, right?
Yes. I was gonna kind of lead us right into that. I think that's one of those drama things that's like the whole locker room's going to get around this. They're going to fight for Jokic. And I think it's just going to level up the Nuggets, honestly. I know Tim might hate it, but it happened last year. So I think it might happen again to him.
Okay. I got.
What do you think of that, by the way? What do you think of it?
Yeah. So let's talk about the Jokic Ishba thing. Before we really move into that, I definitely like what you're saying, dude. I think anything that can help fuel the fire for your team.
Yes, you don't want to fuel the other team.
Is positive. And I do feel like this is fuel to the fire for Denver. Now, is it? I don't think it's going to be as big as Book talking shit to Luka. But I think even just the littlest needle push that can get your team over the edge is going to help. So yes, I think this is a positive thing that happened. But I do think this whole situation's been blown
out of the water. For sure.
Yeah, it's been blown out of proportions. Liam, did you see what went down between Ishba and Jokic? I assume you did.
Yeah, I did. And I saw, I might have been on Twitter or something, but I saw Ishba had a statement after the game saying, there should be no fines, no, suspensions or whatever. Like, he's just a fan of the game, which is like, man, if he's saying that, I don't know what the deal is. Like,
agreed.
But you got to stick it to him,
Yeah.
like what's it was just like a heat of the moment thing. He's just the owner. He's obviously passionate. So it's like, you kind of understand it. So I think it is totally blown out of proportion. It could like just be a little thing that, like you said, Ryan, just kind of gets him going. But it's like, I don't know. It's not as big as, like you said, with Book and Luka, like, but it's weird enough to have that little tag on it. So
it definitely was a unique situation. I think like both guys were in the wrong, but not like too, like, I don't know. It's hard for me because like I'm really glad that there was no suspension. Like the NBA's come out and said no suspension. I'm really glad that that's the case. That would have sucked. The series is now 2-2. It is about to be hot the last couple games, and that would have put a huge damper on it. That being said, like if this was the regular season, I could maybe see a suspension. Like you probably can't walk up to the stands and push an owner of the team. Like you probably can't do that. But I'm thoroughly glad that there is no suspension. This is like gotten to be too big of a situation and too big of a storyline almost. Like I don't know. It was stopped pretty quick. If it kind of escalated and there was like a couple more pushes or something like that, sure, we can like have that conversation. But I don't know. It just feels like it kind of got blown up.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did, dude. I mean, it wasn't as big of. I mean, and obviously, it's just like you just want the big heads talking about it. It's going to be something that's going to get blown out of proportions. But yeah, they're both in the wrong. I think obviously Ishbia like initiated it more or less. And Jokic shouldn't have done that, but definitely nothing worth suspension worthy, especially in maybe in the, like you said, maybe in the regular season. But definitely not suspension worthy in the playoffs. It's something that would have just completely dampened the series. But I do think that, like Liam referenced, the statement Ishbia came out with and said, I think that helped somewhat push the needle to not have a suspension. When you have the person who is in the direct altercation of that come out and say, like, you know what? And the thing was, it was the heat of the moment thing. It wasn't like, it's just kind of like, it's a big game. Jokic is playing great. And it's just like, he's wanting the, Ishbia has the ball. Jokic is like, give me the ball, it's just kind of pushing and shove, whatever. He shouldn't do it. But yeah, I could not be more ecstatic that they did not suspend Jokic, because I think that would have just been a big miss on
that. Would have been soft for sure.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how the series ends, man. The one thing, like, these two guys, Jokic and Book, like this is like all-time special shit, by the way. Like I feel like maybe people are realizing now, but I feel like for a minute people weren't really realizing, like we're watching all-time stuff unfolding right
100%.
now between these two guys. Like this isn't just like, oh, like these guys are having a good playoff run, good shit. Like no, like they're doing shit that is like not been done before type shit. And stuff that is like, oh, you built a whole legacy off of these kinds of runs. You know what I mean? Like, this is special stuff that as a fan, I was talking to my friend who's a Nuggets fan. I was just like texting him, like, I'm just trying to take it in because it's like really cool to have your team and your favorite player be a part of something like that. Like, this is like cool. This is just fun.
Absolutely.
Averaging 37 on, like you said, the last couple games, shooting 79%. Like, that's unreal. That's unreal. He feels, the one thing I'll say, and maybe this is a little homer of me, but it feels like there's like in the league been a line of two guards that always are like kind of carrying the torch and like are like do have a really big legacy, are legendary type shit. Like, Jordan, Kobe, Wade, and then into, you could say Harden when he won the MVP and stuff. It feels like Booker's like stepping into the next guy
and taking that torch. Oh, absolutely.
And he's now holding that torch and like running with it right now. Like,
I mean, the gap between Book and the next closest guy is the gap between Steph and the next closest guard, where it's just like there's a huge gap in between Book and the next closest two guard. I mean, this point, you can make the argument for Donovan Mitchell at that spot, Jaylen Brown at that spot. There's a lot of two guards we can make an argument for. But at this point, D-Book has solidified himself as the best shooting guard in the league, playing like a top 3 player. Honestly, in this playoffs, it's been an absolute unreal performance. I'm super excited to see this. And shouts out to Michael Porter Jr. doing his thing, just jacking threes when you just absolutely don't need to. Gotta love the transition. Oh,
that transition was so fucking tough.
Just like so could not have been a scenario where you didn't need it more than that. And he did it. So shout out to Michael Porter Jr. for selling that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's not going to come down to Jokic's play. It's just going to come down to how these other guys play. And I think the other thing too with these teams, like, I don't know what adjustments you make defensively. Because like
For
you
either
can
side.
try to stop Jokic from getting 51, but like then everyone else is just wide open.
Right.
Right. So it's
And
just
Jamal
like,
Murray
and then,
does.
yeah, exactly. And then Jamal Murray's going to go get your buckets. Exactly. And then for Denver, like, I don't think you can play any better defense. Like we said, Booker's shooting whatever, 76, 79%, whatever it is from the field. And at this point, it's like, and those are not easy shots.
Say
It's
over
not like he's like
60% of those are contested, by the way.
contested. That's what I mean. So like, if you're Denver, you're like, I don't know what more Denver could have done in those games. You know, a couple of late game stuff, you know, Jokic turning the ball over, whatever it is. A couple of late game stuff, that's fine. But yeah, man, I cannot wait. I love that I get Boston and Phoenix back to back. It's super exciting. So I'm excited for this series to go on. I mean, anything else we want to cover on Suns Nuggets, man? We got game 5 tomorrow night. Good to go.
No, I'll wait till game 5 and shit.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on.
Steph has a triple double, by the way.
Yeah, well, Steph has a triple double. We'll keep you posted on the Lakers game. Lakers are currently they're up
Minute left, they're up 2.
They're up 199. LeBron James is currently going to the free throw line. He just made his first free throw. So we'll see what goes from here. Like he said, Steph has 29, 10, and 14. Warriors team just, and you know, we'll wait to move on to that series after the ending of this game. So let's move on to Heat Knicks.
What do you got, Tim?
I was just gonna say Lonnie Walker's got 13 in the 4th, by the way.
Oh, getting buckets. D'Angelo Russell's found himself a nice spot on the bench. So shouts out to
Called that one.
Okay, let's move on to Heat Knicks. I don't think a series has ever had an 80s feel to it like this one, since I can remember. I mean, this is if you're an 80s guy, this is your series to watch, dude. Just a hard fought out series, not a ton of threes being shot, super physical, low scoring. Goodness, man. But I think it just comes down to like Jimmy Butler's him, bro. Jimmy Butler is just that guy.
He's that guy in the playoffs, man.
God, he's fun to watch. It's fun to watch.
Something. And
Liam,
like you said, like it's
ahead,
just such a hard fought series, like just so gritty, man. I love it.
Just a fun defensive series. Looking like the Heat are probably going to take this one. Liam, any takeaways from Heat Knicks?
This is exactly what I expected, honestly. Not to like say that, you know,
yeah,
I saw that, but like you come off beating the Bucks. Jimmy's playing hot, and you know he only gets hotter as he goes on. I mean, we saw that last year. It's like it's not happening. Not with a team that, like you said, they don't. You know, they scored what, like 90 some points a game, or what, 80 some points a game. What are you gonna do about that, dude? You have no scores. I put in the outline Julius Randle. I mean,
yeah, brutal.
All 4th worst field goal percentage in playoff history. That's like, how do you do that?
That's crazy.
He hasn't been a playoff performer.
And it's the 4th worst and the worst since 1952. So we can just say the worst in playoff history because who gives a fuck what happened before 1952? Like,
no, yeah. How does that happen? I mean,
no, yeah, no,
they don't have the scoring.
No,
yeah. What is New York lacking? Donovan Mitchell or?
Donovan Mitchell over RJ Barrett.
That's nice. The part of this series. I know that this series is still going on right now and stuff. That's the part of this outline that I'm most excited to talk about is what is New York missing?
Like they could have had it.
I feel like, but do you feel like that team is in ring contention still? Like, I guess yes, right? Like
the Knicks?
I guess in my opinion, I just think that the Knicks are like another really like A tier or above piece away. Like,
well, what's nice is they're in New York, so like they have it's tough though. Like I know, but for the longest, I mean, think about how many times we've gone like, AD to New York, KD to New York,
right?
Like
Zion,
Donovan Mitchell to New York,
Booker,
Zion,
forever, like,
yep.
We've had a lot of these scenarios where it's like, but it's just like they haven't been able to pull it in. And I do agree, like there are a couple pieces away, but I think that piece is like Julius Randle just playing well. Like this was a series the Knicks had no business losing. Like you are the better team. All the fucking Heat have is Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Like you have no business losing this series, and they're going to. And it's weird because like the Heat are beating them the same way that they beat Cleveland, where it was just like Miami's out rebounding them, getting tons of offensive rebounds and just outworking them.
Hustling.
Which is just really weird to see from a Thibodeau team also, which is like that's what
Tibbs
built his stuff around. So I think the Knicks are in a super weird spot. I don't think they're I don't think they're necessarily they're not a title contending team until they get that like other A-tier player, because like Julius Randle has shown us he can play at that level, but like these last 2 playoffs we've seen him play in have been fucking miserable.
Right,
I mean,
like,
you remember that Atlanta series, bro?
Yeah, and
It
how
was
much-
awful.
terrible. He was terrible. See, and
can
that's where
Jalen Brunson? Oh, sorry. Can Jalen Brunson keep that up for next year if he's in the playoffs? It's just one of those things. I don't know. This team is special for now, but ugh.
right.
No.
Yeah,
And the
no,
Cavs are only going to get better. Like, that's the other thing too, is like you're not like when you play the Cavs again. If you were to play the Cavs again, they're only going to get more mature. They're so young
yeah,
that
each
like
guy's gonna develop.
Yeah.
I think the Knicks are kind of on the downside. You could say, like, I don't think they're gonna be that much better. I guess you could, like, I don't know. I just think this was kind of a special Knicks team in their own sense, right? Like they won a series and that was a win.
Yeah.
absolutely. We have the closing seconds of this Warriors game. Warriors are down 3 with the ball with 15 seconds left. So we'll see what happens here with the Dubs. Draymond Green just turned it over. So that looks like that is going to be the end of that series. Not the end of that series, but looks like
ending.
Lakers are going to be going. Oh, there's a jump ball. So I guess we'll see Anthony Davis as part of that. But looking like the Warriors are possibly going to be going down 3-1 here. So we could have the Lakers in a Western Conference Finals, man. Holy shit.
Big market NBA, Celtics, Lakers.
Oh,
It's happening.
Back.
It's happening.
That's
it
Adam
back.
Silver's wet dream, bro. I don't know. I still got Phoenix in mind. But yeah, anything else we want to cover on the Knicks, man? I mean, the Heat are going to close this thing out. They got Jimmy Butler. They got the closer. So I guess we'll just kind of.
I think, like we said, like the Knicks are kind of they're close-ish to a finals team potentially, and the Heat, like, they're so low scoring. Are they gonna be able to keep up with a Celtics or a Sixers? We don't know, but this to me seems like they're not gonna. Whoever advances is not gonna win. So.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds left. Lakers ball. Looks like the Lakers are going to win this game going up 3-1. So let's move on to them. Lakers, Golden State. Lakers are now taking a 3-1 lead, one win away from the conference finals, man. I just did not see this coming from the Los Angeles Lakers.
I think when they initially made the trade in the at the deadline, we were kind of like, oh, like they could be like an 8 seed, a 9 seed, and be pretty good, but shoot. They're quite the team now. Vanderbilt stepped up. Austin Reeves is playing good. If AD keeps this up, they're going to be. This is a tough team.
D'Angelo Russell.
Well, if D'Lo keeps sitting on the
sell.
bench, making sure everyone's got their
sell.
water, they're going to be really good.
Good shit, LeBron. Good shit.
Make sure the morale's up on the bench. Everyone's dancing like the old Nets in 2019. Doing their little thing. Yeah. They're going to be great.
And Jordan Poole has at this point become almost completely unplayable.
If Jordan Poole's not hitting Steph Curry-esque shots, what does he provide you? Like
nothing.
He gives you he doesn't give you size. He doesn't give you overwhelming effort. He doesn't give you any defense. He's not a great playmaker. He's like a shot chucker at that point on $130 million. Like,
just crazy.
If he's not hitting those shots,
you think it's a money thing? Like the money kind of.
Like he got his bag and he's cool.
I
think there's a lot of things that go into it. I think he's this kind of a player, and when it looks bad, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
Like kind of like D'Angelo Russell. When D'Lo looks good, he looks good, and you're like, oh shit, he's really talented. And then when it looks bad, you're like, wow, get this fucking guy to China. I think the punch at the start of the year didn't help.
No,
that doesn't ease you into a season at all. I think there was so much turnover this year with the Warriors when it was Steph missing time, when Wiggins with just lineup changes, all that kind of shit. Yeah. I think that just everything together, there was a lot of uneasiness around the squad, and Jordan Poole, I think was, I don't know. I don't know how to put it.
When you put together his last year, it's like gets a championship, right? Super early on, gets paid $130 million.
Yeah.
Gets punched in the face by a glue guy on this team, and now he's kind of like the scapegoat shitty guy in the playoffs. So I mean, it's an absolute fucking whirlwind for this guy. He's been all over the place,
Yeah, and
and
obviously, like
and that's a
the
lot for a
way
young
he,
guy, you know.
yeah, and the way he's
Yeah.
played, he has not. I mean, dude, he got 10 minutes tonight and was 0 for 4 from the field, -6. So like, he's. I mean, Gary Payton Jr. tonight is getting 23 minutes. DiVincenzo's getting 15. Moses Moody's playing more minutes than Jordan Poole at this point. Like a guy that I didn't even expect to really hit the playoff for that hard. So, yeah, extremely weird spot for. A really, really weird spot for Jordan Poole and the Warriors as a whole. So I'm gonna ask you, Liam. What I mean, if Golden State loses this series, you know that they're going back to Golden State. You're expecting them to maybe win that one. Who knows? They can still win this series, but going down 3-1, odds are not likely. Where do you see Golden State possibly going from here, Liam?
It's hard because what you brought up earlier, obviously that's blockbuster type stuff right there with the Giannis trade. But it's weird because I feel like at the end of last year, or maybe even a little bit before that, they were talking about trying to get Clay and Draymond out of there. I feel like there were talks about that, Clay going to the Lakers or something weird. Like, I think them winning a ring like could almost be a bad thing for them at the end of the season if they don't, advance. Like,
Yeah,
because it kept their team together for another year. Like you said, you signed Jordan Poole to $130 million. Like you did a lot of things because of the ring, which is fair. But with the players they have right now, it's not sustainable. I mean, Draymond Green's still good, but he's just a shell. Clay is the same way. And they're a young guy like Jordan Poole. He's supposed to be their guy. So it's really weird where they go from here. They have a lot of assets, like Timmy brought up earlier. Like that's one thing they do have is like they have collateral. They can do anything honestly with what they have. So
you just don't. And this was my argument going into the trade deadline. Like, I just don't understand like what you're waiting around for. You have one of the top two players in the last. One of the top two players in the last decade. It goes LeBron, then it goes Steph, right, over the last 10 years. So when you have a guy like that who's still playing at an extremely elite level, but is on a little bit starting, of course, he's going to hit his decline, but still playing at an elite level, man. This is the time to go all in. Go trade your assets, go get someone and get yourself contending because Steph's probably only got, I mean, maybe 1-2 years left of being like prime Steph Curry. So yeah, the Warriors are in an extremely weird spot. And I guess we'll just have to see where Golden State goes from here. But yeah, I mean, shout out to the Lakers. Anthony Davis with another 23 and 15 night. Had a good night tonight. LeBron scoring 27. Like you said, Lonnie Walker having 13 points in the fourth quarter, helping them close out this game in LA. So it's
Spin
this
zone.
offseason is going to be wild.
Spin zone. Steph gets his 3-1 revenge on LeBron.
Yeah, whoa, that would be crazy.
That'd
That'd be
be
Spin
so
zone.
wild.
Maybe.
Did it not feel kind of like the Warriors, to me, missed an opportunity, kind of like what you're saying, Sauce? Like, it felt like there was real guys that could have got two.
Absolutely.
Like, what if they went to especially when Poole's value is a little higher, what if they went to Toronto and was like, yo, we'll give you Jordan Poole, Moses Moody, and 2 first-round picks or whatever,
for
for
OG.
Siakam or OG.
Yeah, or Siakam. Yeah, true.
Who's to say they couldn't have done Wiseman, Poole and shit? You know what I mean? Like,
Wiseman was a big one.
Oh, sorry. Would Wiseman have been sneaky on this team? Like, were they too quick with that? Maybe.
I think Wiseman's time was done in Golden State. I just don't think it was the right fit for him.
Not the right fit.
No. Yeah.
I just think that there's guys, and like when KD wanted out, like I don't know if that was just like too good to be true, and neither side really would have let it happen. But like it was like that one could have happened at the time. Like I just feel like there was guys on the table that could have made the Warriors continue their like title run again, and they didn't go get any of them. Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, Poole's stock is completely plummeted. Like we said, we're paying a guy $130 million not to play 10 minutes in a essential game 4 in the playoffs. So
not to compare him to a lesser contract, but like Duncan Robinson, right? Like he was really good. He shot really good from 3, and then he gets paid a lot after like a good year. And it's just like, I don't know if it's too much weight on his shoulders or if he just got too comfortable or what, but God, it just seems like a bad situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jordan, and I'm not a huge fan of Jordan Poole. Obviously, hit some great shots against Boston last year, and played really well. But yeah, like you said, it just kind of felt like the Draymond Green punching thing, man. I just think that's going to be something that this Warriors team is going to look back on. Like that is just, you don't want your glue guy getting that upset about it, and it just seemed like the Warriors, or I guess like Poole just got maybe a little bit too big for his britches at that point.
Because
But I mean,
all
yeah.
year there's going to be a who's on Jordan's side, who's on Draymond's side, no matter if they chop it up or not. There's
Yeah.
always going to be a he said, she said type deal.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for this offseason, man. I mean,
It's going to be crazy.
I was just gonna
There's going to be
say
some movement for
there's
sure.
there's like double-digit teams of this offseason that I like cannot wait to see what happens. Like there's so many like in-depth conversations I want to have. I'm so excited to do the first offseason pod
Oh
because
yeah.
like there's so many like I want to dive into the Knicks. I want to dive into a bunch of these teams of like, okay, where the fuck do they go from here kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Dude, and real quick, like I'm just gonna rattle off like the top 10 free agents. And I'm telling you right now, this list goes about 25, 30 players deep. We got James Harden. These are all like, I mean, a couple of these players have a player option, but most likely are gonna decline them. We have James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Fred VanVleet, Kristaps Porzingis, Chris Middleton, Nikola Vucevic, Draymond Green, Jeremy Grant, Brooke Lopez, Kyle Kuzma. That's just 10. At 11, D'Angelo Russell, Jakob Poeltl, Jordan Clarkson, Cam Johnson's restricted. He'll probably stay. Harrison Barnes, Russell Westbrook, Dylan Brooks, Miles Bridges, Gary Trent, Austin Reeves, Christian Woods, Josh Hart. I mean, bro, that's 20 deep, and we're still talking about like starters on contending finals teams.
And there's some guys on the back half of their contract that are ready to go, like a Damian Lillard or like we said, Giannis maybe, or guys like that, last year.
Yeah, and we talked about Jimmy Butler. He's probably not going anywhere. But even guys like Brandon Ingram, bro, like we gotta like with this Kevin Durant trade completely opened the door for all possible trades. We had really never seen someone 1 year into a 5-year contract get traded. So now that we've seen that, bro, like the door is completely open. At this point, everyone knows like if you're not winning now, you either have to go somewhere or acquire assets. And if you're not acquiring assets, you're bouncing, bro. So like this offseason is going to be absolutely electric coming off this NBA Finals. I think we have the draft lottery is here in a couple of days. It might be actually like beginning of
I think a week.
Yeah.
I think it's the 16th.
I think that's true.
8 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. NBA draft lottery date. It's got to be coming up, right?
I'm pretty sure I'm like 99% sure it's the 16th. So it would be 8 days.
May 16th. So next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. So that's also going
fucking hot.
So that's going to be crazy. But yeah, dude, I'm super stoked for the lottery odds. I mean, if you're winning Victor Wembanyama. So that's going to be also a franchise needle mover. I know, want them in Dallas. I mean, that's the thing though. Like you win that lottery, like we're talking like, oh, where does Dallas go from here? Oh, will they get Victor Wembanyama? Then it's like, who knows? Right?
Got to win the lottery one time.
Yeah,
that's all you.
Celtics did it.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I'll never forget if that top 3 pick, if that pick we got from the Grizzlies is not top 3 protected, we have Ja Morant. So I want that something that's just really put out there. That pick's not top 3, Ja Morant's a boss.
Mark Cuban's taking Adam Silver out to a couple nice dinners this offseason. Make sure that ball falls a little later.
All right. Well, I mean, anything else you want to cover on the playoffs, boys, or anything else you want to cover just in general NBA wise?
Just again, like super excited. Like it's just not for the most part, it's not what we expected. I guess most of the part it's just the Lakers, I guess. But I mean, it's just exciting, man. We're getting to that down to the nitty gritty here.
Well, and there's no dominant team either.
There's no sure-cut team that's going to win this finals.
There is a reason, like there is a legitimate, like pinpoint reason that I could go through each individual team on why they won't win the NBA Finals. Every single team. But then it's also but also it's a flip side. I can make an argument with the exception of honestly just the Knicks. I can come up with a legitimate scenario on any of these teams winning NBA Finals, even Miami. So
yeah,
no,
absolutely.
I think the best teams are both 2-2 right now for the most part. I think the Suns, Nuggets, Celtics, Sixers will more than likely be the finals, however you spin it. But yeah, like we said, who knows? Could go anywhere.
It could. And I think that these playoffs have been great for a few reasons. One, we're in the second round right now, and we've gotten Braun and Steph Curry, the rematch, which that's a 3-1 series now, but like it's kind of been underwhelming, but it's still cool. But like Celtics Sixers has been crazy, and it's 2-2, and it's been game winners and Harden, and it's been a lot. And then it's like Denver Phoenix, it was 2-0 right away, but like Booker is playing at like a legendary level, and now it's like 2-2 again. And each series has like, and then you got the Heat on a run right now. They're up 3-1. Like, it feels like these playoffs have lived up to the hype. And also, it feels like, I know every year there's a bunch of legacy stuff that comes with the playoffs, but it really feels like this year there's like a lot of legacy shit brewing. Like, it
Yeah.
feels like
Oh,
if
100%.
Jokic, like, it feels like there's so much at stake for so many guys this year, or not even that, but like there's also guys that are just like cementing or building themselves up to like a whole new stratosphere, whether it's Jimmy Butler just being like, damn, dude, you did it again, 8-1
Yeah.
seed, and now you're making the Eastern Conference Finals again with no hero, with
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry being at, you know what I mean? Or whether it's
Yeah.
Booker or
Deep.
Or
Depot.
Joel Embiid finally getting over that hump, making it to a conference finals.
Yeah.
Tatum getting his first NBA finals.
Yeah.
Braun winning his fifth.
Steph
Or is
or
it
Braun,
Steph
yeah.
winning his fifth? Is it like you said, Book and KD getting another one? Book getting his first. Jokic submitting that. I mean, dude, there is, and Anthony Davis truly being the one on this Lakers team and winning a finals. I mean, there's so much that goes into
A
this.
lot.
Celtics
playoffs, man.
Lakers can get their
Yeah.
18th.
Yeah, could you
Celtics,
imagine
Lakers.
competing for? I mean, they both got 17, competing
Put
for
ass
one or
in the
18.
seats.
I mean, I don't think we could ask. We've been very, very blessed with a extremely great.
Yeah, these script
playoff
writers have been
scenarios,
great, man.
Yeah, the script
Yeah, the
writers
script's
are
going
legendary.
perfect right now.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. All right, boys. Well, if there's nothing else to cover, I think this is we'll wrap it up for this pod. Overall, great podcast so far, boys. Liam, it was great having you on. First time just awesome, but just overall great having you on again, man. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys have me here. I'm glad to be here. So,
Tim, I'm glad you were able to get some time out of your busy schedule to hop on the pod with us.
Thanks,
Talk some
motherfucker.
Suns basketball.
Off the sussy.
Off the sussy. And McKinnon, as always, man, it's been a blast.
Always a pleasure. Like and subscribe.
Like he says, like and subscribe, baby. This was just Saucin. Thanks for tuning in. 27 weeks strong. And we'll be back in the same spot next week. So tune in.
Like and subscribe.
Oh, wait. No, we don't want to end meeting. We don't want to end meeting. We just want to stop it.